All right, so get ready because today we are going deep, really deep into the world of astral projection and lucid dreaming.
Oh, yeah.
And you have sent me a ton of YouTube videos on this topic. We've got experts, practitioners, and even some skeptics who weigh in on this whole thing.
It's going to be fun.
So yeah, we're going to try to untangle the mysteries of these altered states of consciousness. I mean, are they totally different or are they just two sides of the same coin?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
I think one of the things that's so fascinating is how both of these experiences kind of blur those lines between, what's inner reality and what's outer reality.
Right.
So we've got astral projection, which is the belief that your consciousness can actually separate from your physical body and travel to other realms.
Mm-hmm.
But then we've got lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you become aware that you're dreaming while you're still in the dream.
It's like, how do you even know which is which, right?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. Are we really, like, poof, leaving our bodies, or are we just having, like, these super vivid dreams?
Yeah.
I mean, in one of the videos, Astral Projection versus Lucid Dreaming, same or different, Jennifer Clariskira, she says, the question, I believe, is, are we leaving our bodies? And the answer is maybe.
Maybe.
It's that maybe that I think really sucks people in.
Absolutely. And it's a question that has captured, the fascination of different cultures for centuries.
Sure, right.
And even now, even with all of our modern science, it's still a mystery.
Right. Yeah.
But before we, get into all the really complex stuff, let's just kind of lay out, some basic definitions.
Yeah.
So astral projection, as we said, is that belief that you can consciously separate your awareness from your physical body.
Mm.
So it's almost like taking your mind on a journey outside of like the physical realm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, and it's interesting because one of the videos, Spirit Science 9 Astral Projection, they talk about using astral projection to, like, visit friends in other countries. I don't know if I'm ready to be traveling internationally in my pajamas, but the idea of, like, heightened awareness during sleep is definitely something I'm super curious about.
I think that's what, makes this whole topic so captivating.
Totally.
And you mentioned heightened awareness, and that's really key to lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you wake up inside your dream and you suddenly realize, hold on a sec, this isn't real, I'm dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, you can potentially even take control.
Wow.
You can fly, you can talk to dream characters, you can even change the scenery.
I've heard about this. I mean, Doug Stanhope on the Joe Rogan Experience, he talked about being able to, like, wake up in a dream, go use the bathroom, and then go back to the same dream. Like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That kind of control, is that even possible?
It really makes you think about, how powerful the subconscious mind really is.
Yeah.
If we can have that much control over our dreams, then what else can our minds do?
What does that say about reality?
Exactly.
I mean, some of the experiences in the dream world, though, they can be pretty intense. I mean, Stanhope was talking about playing catch with a demon girl in the astral realm.
That's pretty intense.
But then you have Janelle K. Lauren, and she talks about these terrifying experiences like sleep paralysis and demonic torment.
Oh, wow.
And she believes these were triggered by, I think she said, accidentally astral projecting.
Wow.
It kind of makes you wonder if you have to be careful about this, if you should approach this carefully.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, her story definitely highlights how important it is to approach these states of consciousness with respect and caution, for sure. It's not always just fun and games.
Right. It's the deep end of your mind. It might not always be a nice place to be.
Right.
You know, what I find interesting is that even experienced practitioners, they often say that they have a hard time telling the difference between astral projection and just, a really vivid lucid dream.
Yeah, that's a common theme.
There's a video, Is Astral Projection Just Lucid Dreaming? And the YouTuber Swim, he shares that he's transitioned between both states, and he finds it really difficult to tell if there's a definitive difference.
So it almost seems like the boundary between the two can be really blurry.
Super blurry. So are they truly distinct experiences, or are they just, variations on a theme?
It's the big question.
Yes.
And I think that's where the scientific perspective comes in.
Right, because science has a way of cutting through the fog sometimes. What does science say about this?
Well, Daniel Love, in his video Lucid Dreaming and Astral Projection, What's the Difference? He points out that lucid dreaming has actually gained some scientific verification.
Okay.
But astral projection, not so much. It's still lacking that empirical evidence. And this is a big point that skeptics bring up when they question, the whole idea of leaving the body.
So one's got some science behind it.
Kinda.
and the other one, not so much. But even with lucid dreaming, we have scientific methods to measure brain activity during sleep, but consciousness itself is still a big mystery.
Absolutely.
The World Science Festival video, The Dreaming Mind, Waking the Mysteries of Sleep, they touch on this.
Yep.
They discuss how scientists can now, get this, communicate with lucid dreamers in real time.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So, it's like a huge step towards understanding what's happening in the brain during these experiences.
That's incredible. Imagine, being able to ask a dreamer, what are you experiencing right now, and getting an immediate response.
That's wild.
That's amazing.
It is wild. So it's like science is finally starting to catch up to these things people have been experiencing, for centuries.
Right.
But we're still just scratching the surface.
Absolutely.
So after looking at all these accounts and doing all this research, where does that leave us? Where are we at in terms of understanding the difference between astral projection and lucid dreaming?
Well, I think instead of thinking of them as two completely separate things, maybe we should think of them as different points on a spectrum.
Okay.
A spectrum of expanded consciousness.
Okay.
Because they both seem to involve tapping into a higher level of awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we're shaping our dream environment or perceiving ourselves as separate from our physical bodies.
So what you're saying is whether we're flying through a dreamscape or exploring a whole different realm, both of these experiences are telling us that our minds are way more powerful than we think.
Exactly. And that's where things get really exciting.
Yeah, because if that's true, then what else is possible? What other mysteries of consciousness are we going to unlock?
Ooh, good question. I think we should dive into some more of your source material and see what other insights we can find.
All right, let's do it. So we're talking about this expanded state of consciousness, but what does that even mean for us? Practically, what can we learn from all this?
Well, it seems like both of these practices are all about looking inward, right? Becoming more aware of what's going on inside our thoughts, our emotions, even those subconscious beliefs that are kind of running the show in our everyday lives.
And there's something powerful about that, isn't there? Just thinking about shaping your own dream reality, facing your fears, exploring, your deepest desires. It's almost like you're in control of your own mind.
Exactly, and that's what's so empowering about it.
Yeah.
There's this video, Lucid Dreaming versus Astral Projection, Awakening of Consciousness, from this channel called Astral Doorway. And they really focus on that idea, becoming aware of those inner narratives, and then maybe, just maybe, breaking free from the limitations of how we usually see things.
I like that. So, okay, let's say someone's listening to this and they're intrigued. They want to try this out. Are there, any practical techniques they can experiment with?
Oh, yeah, for sure. In the videos you sent, there are actually a bunch of different techniques mentioned, like reality checks, for example. Those are popular for both lucid dreaming and astral projection. They're basically little tests you do throughout the day to figure out if you're dreaming or awake.
Oh, yeah, like that hold your nose check.
Oh, right.
Astral Doorway recommends that in one of their videos, how to astral project from a lucid dream. So, if you can breathe through your pinched nose, you're probably dreaming.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's such a simple thing, but it really works.
Yeah, I've tried it. Sometimes it's so convincing, it's freaky.
Right. It makes you question everything. And that's a good thing because it gets you in that mindset of questioning reality.
Yeah.
And then hopefully that carries over into your dreams.
Yeah, totally. What about other techniques?
Well, visualization and meditation are also super common. Those are often used to kind of steer your dream content and maybe even trigger a lucid dream.
Oh, like those guided meditations on the Meditation Vacation YouTube channel.
Yes.
I love that channel. Their video, Lucid Dreaming Guided Meditation Control Your Dream Experience, is a great starting point for anyone who wants a little, guidance. But I have to bring this up with all this talk about venturing into other realms and exploring our inner world. Do we need to talk about safety? Because remember, Janelle K. Lauren, she had that really scary experience with demonic torment.
Right. And her story, it does remind us that this isn't always, rainbows and butterflies. We are dealing with the subconscious mind, and it can be a pretty unpredictable place.
Yeah, there are some dark corners in there.
Exactly. And, while Janelle's experience is obviously shaped by her own beliefs, it does raise some valid concerns about potential risks, especially when you're messing with things like astral projection or binaural beats.
It's proceed with caution, right? Don't just jump into the deep end without knowing how to swim.
Exactly. You got to be prepared. And, on top of that, We should also think about the ethical side of things, especially with all this new technology that's coming out, like what Ken Paller talks about in The Dreaming Mind, about dream manipulation.
Oh, yeah. He was talking about the possibility of, like, ads in our dreams.
Right, yeah. Can you imagine getting bombarded with commercials while you're trying to sleep?
That is a nightmare. But, yeah, it's something we might actually have to deal with as technology gets more sophisticated.
It really does make you think about those boundaries, the boundaries of our personal space and how easily that could be exploited, even in our dreams.
It's a little creepy, honestly. So I guess the message is the possibilities are super exciting, but we got to be cautious too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about personal accounts. We've looked at what science has to say. We've even touched on some of the ethical stuff.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. So before we wrap up, let's try to, break it down for our listeners. What are the key takeaways here?
All right, so first things first, lucid dreaming and astral projection. Yeah, they're often lumped together, but they're actually different experiences.
Right.
Lucid dreaming, you're becoming aware inside the dream. But astral projection, it's that belief that you're actually separating from your physical body.
One's like waking up in the dream, and the other one is leaving your body behind.
Exactly. But what they both have in common is that expanded consciousness.
That higher level of awareness.
Right. So whether you're flying through that dreamscape or, exploring a different dimension altogether, both of these experiences are basically challenging what we think we know about the power of the mind.
So they're both kind of pointing us in the same direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so after this deep dive, what's the main thing you hope listeners take away from all this?
I think the most important thing is our minds are way more powerful and mysterious than we give them credit for. Yeah. And these experiences, whether they're real or not, in the traditional sense, they make us question our reality. They make us question our consciousness. And they make us question the limits of human potential.
It's like we're just starting to understand the vastness of our inner world, right?
Exactly.
And who knows what else we might discover.
And that's what makes this whole journey so fascinating. It's a journey of self-discovery, pushing those boundaries, and embracing those mysteries that we all have inside.
I mean, it's just wild to think about how much is locked away in our minds,
It really is.
We've been talking about consciousness and reality and all these big ideas, but what does it all mean for the listener, for someone listening to this right now?
Well, think about it like this. If your dreams can be so real and so intense, and if you can tap into these incredible states of awareness, what does that tell you about your own potential? About your fears, your deepest desires.
What does that unlock?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe tonight when you're falling asleep, just think about that for a minute.
Yeah. And maybe as you're exploring those landscapes of your mind, you'll find that the line between dreaming and being awake, it's not as solid as you thought it was.
Right. It gets blurry.
Super blurry.
Who knows what you'll discover in those uncharted territories?
Right. It's a whole new world in there.
It really is. The journey's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think by opening ourselves up to these possibilities, by questioning what we think we know and exploring all these new ideas, we can understand ourselves so much better.
And the world around us.
Exactly.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.
Until next time.